Hey guys, how you doing? Happy Homebrew Wednesday. It's good to be back. Thank you for your patience. I didn't do one last week because, well, I'll get into that in a second, but things are looking up. And the only problem is I don't have a homebrew today, but I'll go into that in a minute. But what you saw there at the beginning of this video was a nice, hot, spicy, homemade chili. And I'll go through that and explain all that. But first, I need a beer. So what I did is I went out and I bought myself a few beers, and this was one I picked up. It's Alexander Keith's Cascade Hop Ale. Okay, so at least it's, halfway decent. Okay. Oh yeah, I smell those hops right off the top. So let's pour it in one of the many glasses I've received as gifts. And this is not a beer review, but I have had this beer before, and it's it's a great thing that they're putting these up front on the main shelves to give the average beer drinker a chance to experience what hops actually are. Because most people who buy run-of-the-mill beer, and they just walk in and order whatever they can find, and most of them on the shelves, up front are just pilsners, lagers. Nothing special about them. They just buy them, they take them home, they don't even know what they're doing, kind of thing. At least these beers, they're on the front. They're on the front shelves, and people look at that and go, oh, well, that gives people an opportunity to experience the hops, because most of the run-of-the-mill beers I don't even know if they probably have hops in them, but just so that they can call it beer. But that's about it. At least with these, and there's a few varieties. There's Cascade, there's Halito, there's some others, and they all have their different characteristics. And at least the run-of-the-mill beer drinker Joe can go, oh, try that and see what the hell they're talking about with the hops. And they're not overpowering, but they're there enough that people can enjoy. You can see that the beer's not quite. It's a little cloudy. See, it's not a home brew. It's a store-bought, and it's got that nice hazy look that a homebrew has. So if you're going to drink a store-bought, or if you're going to show somebody what a homebrew should taste like, this might be a good start. So cheers. Now, I really like that. I like that. That's a good beer. That's a good beer. Cheers to that. So I'm going to put that up there so we don't forget about it. Okay. So last week was just a write-off for me. My dog was really sick, and she had a really bad cough, and I was worried that she had heartworm. We took her to the vet. The vet, looked at her and everything. Turns out it was just a kennel cough. Put her on some medication, and now she's doing really fine. So that's good. And so that's looking up. Also, looking toward the weekend, my son was packing to go on a trip with his youth group way the hell up north. And I was looking at the weather, and the snow was going to come, and I was just worried sick. So I just wrote everything off. I didn't even go on my computer. I just said, I got to get through this. So now here we are, and it's following week. He's home safe, and he had a great time, and my dog is doing well. So that's all over with. But for that reason, I did not brew. I haven't brewed any beer in a week and a half, and my keg went dry about 3 days ago. I've got nothing brewing at all, so I'm up the creek, and I'm going to have to catch up. I do have, some beer around. I don't have to go without completely. But so what I did was I just went out and I got to catch up. See, this is when the really easy home brewing methods are great, because I got to catch up, get my pipeline going. Okay. So I just went out and I bought a Cooper's IPA. That one's going to get some hops added to it. Okay. We're going to do a little boil with this one and get some hops in there, some extra hops. This one's just the English bitter. I'm just going to brew this one up real easy to get that one going. Of course, I've got the you know, I've got the dry malt extract and whatnot, and some dextrose and whatnot to put in there. And, you know, some hops. I've got quite a bit of hops still, actually, in my freezer. So I'm going to brew those up, and probably going to do those tonight, actually, at least one of them anyway, and get them going. And then I picked myself up another wine kit, because I'm due for one. Ah, these are heavy. Okay, so that's going to get put down. So we got to get things back in action. And that's where these easy home brewing kits really come in handy. Because if you put some heart and soul into it, and you get some hops in there, and you can make some good beer. I'm sure most of you know that, right? Now, the chili, and we're going to talk about the pickle video in a minute too, if you haven't seen that already. The chili. All right. Here's the thing with the chili. Ooh, that was a nice hoppy burp. Oh, it's good to be back. Cheers. Here's the thing with the chili. Stop cleaning my hat for me, would you? Here's what happens. Okay? I go up the street. I walk around. I buy all the stuff I need for the chili. You know, you need the ground beef, and sometimes you put ground pork in if you want. And I buy all the stuff, and I bring it home. I get myself a nice beer. Get my kitchen going, my pot out, and here I go. And when it comes to chili, which by the way is hands down my favorite food. I'm not a firm believer. I mean, I like crock pots and slow cookers and pressure cookers and all that stuff. I like them. They're great for certain things. But when you're making the chili, I'm not a fan of just throwing everything in there and hoping it works out at the end. That's not the way I'm going to do a chili. I'm in it for the long road when I make a chili. I'm there. I'm stirring it. I'm adding things at different times, you know. I don't just throw everything in at the beginning and make it, you know, let it cook through until it's done. I'm adding things at different times throughout the cooking just to give it layers, just like, you know, making all grain beer. I mean, you know, you're doing your boil and you're putting your hops in at different times to give it the different layers of flavor and stuff and aroma. And so I'm adding my ground beef, my onions, and my celery, and my garlic, and, you know, whatever else I put in at the beginning. And then I put my broth in, and my tomatoes, and my chili powder, and my cumin, and my spices, and my jalapenos, and whatever else. And then I let that go for a while. And I'm adding a little few more things, and, you know, at the onset, you know, halfway through. And then at the end, I'm putting a few more in and layering it, and then I'll put a few bay leaves in there, and so that they don't lose all their aroma. And at the end, we have an absolutely, what my family thinks is an incredible bowl of chili, or a pot of chili. It's not that spicy. It's got a little bite to it, but it's, you know, my wife doesn't like spicy things that much, so everyone eats it and they enjoy it, and my family freaks out over it and tells me how good it is. I mean, they actually will come down to me down in the basement when I'm working, and they'll say, "By the way, Dad, that chili was amazing." And they don't often come down and actually, you know, make a point to say that. So that's fine, and that goes in the fridge that night after we're all full. And there's quite a bit left, because when I make a chili, I make big, you know, a big pot. That goes in the fridge. And it sits there all night long, and it marinates, and it does its thing, and it cools down, and, you know. The next day is when we get serious, okay? The next day, I pull it out, I put it back on the stove, I slowly bring it back up to a simmer, out come the jalapeno peppers. And I just keep cutting them up and adding them. Taste, oh, that's not enough, cutting them up. Because me and my son, my older boy, David, we want trouble, okay? We want the real deal when it comes to this. This is the part that we're going to be sorry the next day, all right? So I add that. So that's what we've got going on up there right now. That's what you saw. I'll show another shot of it right now. Those little green things in there, those aren't bell peppers, my friends. Okay, they're jalapenos. And I know jalapenos aren't the hottest peppers in the world, but I put like a lot of them in. Okay, and they were pretty big jalapeno peppers. So they're sort of the milder variety of jalapenos, but I did bite into one, and it was the corner of my mouth was burning for a good 10 minutes. After I was done cutting them up, I washed my hands twice with soap, and I rubbed my eye after, and I still have a burning in the corner of my eye right now. So they're not mild by any means, but they're not ghost peppers or anything. I think that's, that's just too over the edge if you go that far. But so I just keep adding them, and so when I'm done making this video, I'll go up and I'll taste. And when it gets to the point where there's some fire, that's when we've got what we want. David and I. I don't know if Jacob will eat it. And my wife won't touch that. So that's how we do chili here in this house. And we get to eat it 2 nights in a row. The first night's just, supper. Second night, we're going for it. It's double trouble and a half. So that's the chili thing. Okay, I do have a chili recipe on my page. If you just search for CraigTube chili or Craig's Kitchen chili, but the video's about 4 years old or more, and it was a pretty mild chili. But that's the basic recipe. You just add some more hot stuff if you want it to be more fiery and spicy. And I think it's a great chili. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert at anything, and I'm not going to claim that I can go down to Texas and win a competition. But I'm telling you, everyone that's ever tasted it, they really enjoy it. I've been working on this recipe for years and years, so it's getting pretty good. Okay, so that's great, and I'm not afraid to say that. I'm very proud of my chili. Cheers. That's a good beer. Now, last but not least, pickles. Okay, a couple things I want to say to you guys exclusively, because you guys watch most of my videos, so you're going to get this exclusive information. I tried my best to weave it into the video the best I could, but just so you know, if you do try to make those sour pickles, make sure that you keep the pickles below the level of the brine, at least like an inch or so. Otherwise, you may get mold. And I made 2 jars that night. The one jar that you saw is fine. I didn't bring it down. I'm sorry. I should probably go get it and try one for you. But, they're great. They taste fantastic. But the second jar I made off camera, one of the pickles floated up while it was fermenting, and it went moldy. I had to throw it out. The whole jar had to go. So a lot of times what people do is they get like some hunks of cabbage. Always keep a cabbage in the fridge. It lasts for weeks, and you can always use it to make your sauerkraut, and you can always use the bits to do what I'm about to tell you. Put the cabbage on top of the pickles and press them down. Put your lid on. Make sure that the lid's pressing, and then that will keep your pickles underneath the brine. When you're done, you take the cabbage out. If there's any mold there, don't worry. Just take it out with the cabbage, spoon it out, and your pickles will be fine, because they were well underneath the level where if any mold could form. So make sure you do that. I don't want any of you guys to get hurting yourselves. If you don't know that if one floats up and is bobbing up, on the surface, you could get mold, and then you're going to have a problem. So just be a little bit careful with that. Okay, you'll know because you'll see it. If there's none there, and you'll be fine. If there's a little bit there, it's normal. Scoop it out, you're fine. But mine went totally rancid, the whole jar. See? So you got to be careful. And that's the pickle thing. Just, try them. They're probably not for everybody. I love sour pickles. I'll go out and I'll buy the ones you get from the kosher pickles, I think they're called. There's a brand named Strubs makes them. I don't know if that's a Canadian brand or whatever. But you look at the jar and it's all cloudy and everything, and you eat them and they're like, wow, these are, they're fermented pickles. They're not, vinegarized, and they're kept in the refrigerator section in the grocery store. So they are natural and they're good for you if you can find them. Those are the ones you want to eat. That'll help your insides, okay? Because they do work. Just like the sauerkraut does too. Oh, and by the way, if you want to ask me a question on my comments down below here, if you want me to answer you, you have to have a Google Plus account. Otherwise, I cannot answer you. There's no reply button below your comment for me to reply. It's the way Google has done it. You have to have a Google Plus account if you want me to answer your comments. Somebody asked me if I used the GoPro camera to film the pickle video. Yes, I did. I used this camera here, which is my Canon, to film the wide shot, and I used the GoPro camera for the close-up of the cutting board. Okay? And I thought it looked fantastic. Great little camera. Dynamite little thing. I'm so glad I got that thing. Somebody was concerned about the fact that their sauerkraut, the brine had evaporated. No, it doesn't evaporate. It soaks back into the cabbage, and it's fine. You do not have to worry about the fact that there's no more brine. Once you get that into the fridge, your sauerkraut, the brine will disappear, and you'll have just sauerkraut. And it's fine. It will last for months and months in the fridge like that because it's soaked all that good stuff back into itself. Once you get halfway down the jar, you know, when you start eating it, you might run into some of the brine in the bottom, and of course you mix it around, and oh, it's so, my mouth is watering. I love homemade sauerkraut. Put it on sandwiches. Put it on hamburgers. Mix it with your dog's food. Your dog will thank you for it, and the next time she goes out, has a out the back, has a private time outside, she'll thank you for it because it does work. Okay, so I mix it with my dog's food all the time, and I think that's one of the reasons why she got rid of this cough she had. Because the sauerkraut is loaded with vitamin C. It's loaded with good bacteria that, with her being on antibiotics, what they put her on, messed up her insides, her bowels terribly. So I mixed sauerkraut in with her food, and of course she doesn't notice it's even there, and she eats it up, and everything's fine. Okay, I can preach all day, but until you guys try it, you'll never know how great this fermented vegetable hobby is. I mean, look further into it. I mean, I can sit here and ferment anything you want me to, but the basic method is that it's the same for everything. With cabbage, you don't have to mix a brine up like I did with the pickles. Okay, in fact, here's a little bit left. I should pour that out from the other day video. With a cabbage, you don't have to make the brine because the cabbage makes its own brine. But when you're doing cucumbers or big chunks of vegetables, then you need to make the brine because the cabbage is so finely minced that it makes its own brine when you scrunch it around, right? But with other things like cauliflower or celery, cucumbers or whatever, you can't do that. There's not enough surface area for them to make their own brine. So you have to make the brine for them, and that's how you do it, the way you saw it in that video. Okay? I think I'm probably out of time. So I'm going to say cheers. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for returning. Maybe you had a chance to go around last week and watch some other Homebrew Wednesday videos. Or maybe you had a chance to go back and watch some of mine other videos. I don't know, but I do apologize for my absence. Things happen, priorities are there, and I am back here, and if this video is extra long, well, that's okay, and it makes up for last week there not being a video. All right, this is a good beer. I like it. I could see picking up a 6-pack of those. That would do me for my whole Friday night broadcast, I think, because I'd be asleep at the end from the hops. Hey, listen, we've been selling t-shirts, lots of them. People are buying them. I can see every single time somebody buys a shirt, I see who you are. I see, what you bought, how many, what sizes, everything like that. So I do notice it. Even though I don't manufacture the shirts, I do see when somebody buys one. And I do thank each and every one of you for supporting the cause. And I love these shirts. They're great. And this is my WCR AIG shirt for my Friday night broadcast. And if you want one, you can go to tgtshirts.com and get one if you like it. If you don't, well then don't. I'm not forcing anybody to do anything. But that's all for me, folks. That's all she wrote. And I'm going to go and check my chili and see how we can need some chapstick for the next couple of days. I want fire. Okay. Hopefully that's what we're going to get. Thanks, guys. Have a good week. And we'll see you real soon, in a few days. Okay? Take care. Bye.